Mr. Barroso is really a good role model in this respect, because he asks constantly for female commissioners. So it's also, when people say that there's no female candidates for board memberships or commissioners or presidents or what have you, or ministers, I mean, they are there. If you just look in another way, is eager and keen on finding the qualified people, they are there. So I would really give a big hand to Mr. Barroso, because he sets a standard for how to do this. But in Turkey, we have a lot of improvement, because in 2007, in a general election, the number in Turkish parliament doubled from 24 to 50 women, reaching about 9% out of 550 seats. So that is really room for improvement.
As Karen said, we have now 10 commissioners out of 27 who are women. That's great progress compared to the situation in, say, 10 or 20 years ago. And in that regard, Commission President Jose Manuel Barroso has indeed done very important work for gender equality. In my cabinet, I had still, in the end of last year, I had 7 ladies out of 10 members in my closest team. I'm thinking of my daughter, and I'm thinking of her chances in life, and gender equality is very important for the current and future generations. In any case, women's rights is a major issue in the context of EU enlargement. It forms a fundamental part of human rights and of the democratization process of any candidate country.
As Kagidar, we strongly believe in Turkey's full membership in the European Union, and by being present in Brussels for the last 1 year, we have been putting effort to contribute positively in our negotiation process. Even the process of membership of Turkey to the EU has played an influential role and will continue to be a trigger factor in terms of women's rights in Turkey. Gender equality and women's rights issues are major challenges, as stated in the last progress report of EU Commission. Turkey needs to reach major gender equality goals by 2010, based on the Lisbon Treaty, as the Commissioner has stated. However, EU's acquis communautaire leaves the responsibility of policies regarding the gender equality to the member states and only provides roadmaps.
Turkey's EU membership process for us has 3 pillars: the legislative harmonization process, the social, economic, and democratic development, and communication. This is not very different, slightly different maybe from the Commission's 3 pillars. In all these 3 pillars, the women's rights issues, equality or gender equality is a key factor. And as to SİAD, I can assure you that we will be very closely and almost obsessively following up this process so that Turkey is in conformity not only with the EU standards but also with the ILO standards as well. But social and economic development is more important because it involves that Turkey cannot limit itself to simple legal harmonization. We also need to upgrade our democracy, but also educational system, regional development, rural development, information society, sustainable development. Well, we cannot be successful in none of these areas without better gender equality in Turkey and gender and opportunity of chances in Turkey.
Turkey first asked for an association agreement with the European communities as they were then in 1959. And gender equality was first written into the Treaty of Rome in 1957. So we've all been waiting rather a long time for things to progress. And I think, as has already been said, for the gap, as it were, between law and reality to catch up. and it's probably about time that we manage to address that in some way or other. Now, clearly in the European Union there has been progress in the sense that in the Treaty of Amsterdam we now have a sort of a clear task of the European Union to make sure that gender equality happens. But again, if we look at the reality, even in our own member states, there is still a pay gap between men and women of some 15%.
We have the solutions, we know the solutions. It's all policies and it's all political commitment. And if we have the political commitment, as women parliamentarians always have, we can solve the problems. And you know, we were in New York in the Commission on the Status of Women, which gathers every year in March. And this year's topic was reconciliation of family and working responsibilities between women and men, specifically in care for HIV/AIDS. And there we have all delegations from different countries all over the world. And there was the EU delegation, and I was there in the official delegation representing Turkey. And we were discussing from very different backgrounds, very different countries. We were discussing the same issue. But what was happening is that there were NGOs, there were politicians, there were bureaucrats, there were diplomats. So we were all together, working together, all stakeholders. At times, it was not easy to compromise. But at times, we all came to the same point that, you know, women suffer all around the world.
We publish, as you know, every year a progress report in which we very much focus on women's issues. And I think even in relative terms, the room which we have devoted to this has somewhat expanded in the years. So every year there is a report which provides a picture of what has happened over that year and what still needs to be done in the future. And this is a kind of rendezvous which happens every year, the same period of the year. We devote quite a lot of attention to that and to what we write in that report. And of course, we consider the women issues from the point of view of human rights, and we devote quite a lot of space to that under the political criterion.
And AK Party's success. We established women's branch of AK Party in all 81 provinces and 850 districts of Turkey. It means lots of women, actually. We really did an excellent work, and by the 28th July elections, the representation of women in Turkish parliament has reached to 9% from 4.6%. It means it has doubled, but as Mrs. Onanç has said, it is not same, and Ms. Acuner, it is not same for the local elections. As a woman in politics, I really don't like that word, but I have to use it because I experienced it. Women are a little hesitate to take part in local elections.
The Turkish people's aspirations for advanced information society and deep civilizational roots is important, I think, to justify the highest political focus on gender equality. This is why the Turkish government and the parliament and all political parties have an ever more important responsibility to upgrade Turkish society's gender equality performance today.